Oh, you are welcome back to the Way Edu Consult. I've been looking at comprehension passages and the different question approaches. In the last class, we were able to focus on the first four of question approaches. We learned about deductional or inferential questions, right? That the answers are not directly in the passage, but the summary of the event that happened, right? And then we also looked at question on syntactic rules, and I recommended a mastery of classes or class sessions on part of speech, phrases or groups, as well as what? Clauses in English. It will help you to be able to answer questions directly on question on syntactic rules. And then number 3 on thematic preoccupation, getting to know the title of a passage, especially passages that are extracted, adapted from other texts, bigger texts. So don't forget that you need to read paragraph and listen to paragraph and paragraph development as a topic so that you get that well. And then connotative questions. I told you figurative questions, metaphorical questions. You need the knowledge of figures of speech. In fact, several classes were taught on figures of speech. Listen to them and then follow through. On phrasal verbs, on proverbs, as well as on idioms. You need to listen to them so that you'll be able to answer questions that are connotatively inclined and they are context independent. Let's go to the fifth type, mainly now. We call it attitudinal questions. Attitudinal question. The root for that word will be what? Attitude. Attitude. What do you mean by attitudinal questions? They revolve around the tone and the mood of the writer. Right? And when we say tone, we are referring to the attitude of the writer, the stance, the position of the writer, the disposition of the writer to the subject matter. Are we together? Yeah. And it is very essential to know the style of the writer, right? Know the style of the writer. Is the writer being sarcastic? Is it being sardonic? Is it being critical of the old situations in the community? Is the writer, when you say somebody is critical, that means you are evaluating the strength, the weaknesses, the major setbacks, and the progress experienced in a particular place at a particular time for certain people. Are we following? Then, if there is an issue in a particular society, what is the stance? What is the opinion? What is the standpoint of the writer? Right? You know, this could happen more on argumentative passage, right? And other types. There could be subtle presentation of opinions, even in other types, apart from argumentative passages, right? So you now can have question like it could be said in the passage that the writer believes, the writer assumes, the writer is convinced that, the writer likes, the writer hates, the writer, supports different things or opposes something. Then you know whether the writer is in support or the writer is not what? A support. Apart from the writer, you may even have something being said about the standpoint, the position of some of the characters, some of the people being talked about, some of the referents, some of the participants in a particular story. Are we together? Or even in an argument, or even some particular people. That is the government in support of that thing? Did the government approve it? Anything about that will be on what? Attitude. Will be on the tone, right? What is their standpoint towards that? Please take note of that. And then you'll be able to pinpoint certain attitude, certain standpoint, certain disposition, and attribute it towards certain people. That this one, like, for instance, there is a past question on a UTME whereby you see expressions about smoking of cigarettes and drinking of alcohol. We mentioned in the passage you have the economists, in the passage you have the religious people, in the passage you have the moralists. The moralists and the religious people, they are in support. I mean, they have the same opinion, and the moralists and the religious people oppose what? They oppose smoking of cigarettes and what? Drinking of alcohol with certain reasons given. In fact, you did not, sometimes you did not see, the writer did not even mention that they support it. Remember, deductional question. But from their actions, from what they are saying, And from what they are doing, you know that they support, including the parents too. Whereby you have the economists. The economists, they don't mind what happens to you after you have taken alcohol or cigarettes or any other things that people smoke. But what they are concerned about, how many, what is the gross domestic product, what gain do you have towards the community, towards the society, towards the nation. That means they are in support as long as the consumption of alcohol and the consumption of cigarettes bring what? Bring profit to the nation. That means they support. That's attitudinal questions on that. And then the writer himself is neutral. He's not in support of any, just presenting the standpoint of one and the standpoint or the position of another. That means we have three attitudes being discussed there: support, oppose, and then what? Being neutral about another thing. And sometimes it could be sarcastic. It may be to mock certain set of people and to appreciate certain set of people. I believe I've taken enough time to explain that, right? Now, textual questions. Textual questions. Yeah, sometimes it could be delicate to answer, but it's very simple. Because the writer, the examiners, they are subjecting the candidates only to the passage. You are not to look outside the passage. You are not to bring any extraneous idea outside the passage. The opinions, views, ideas must be from what is in the passage. Nothing inserted, nothing brought in. And the question usually begins with according to the passage. What is not, sometimes you can have according to the passage. It can be inferred that, right? They are even trying to help you that you take idea from the passage and then you conclude. That is deductional. But here, what is? Remember all those WH items we discussed in the last two classes, right? On quintessential rules, on answering question on comprehension passages. What is? Why? Abi? How? Who? Why? What? When? Who? All those ones, which you have them being used, that will be textual question. When you see them, what? Why? Who? When? Then you're pointing your attention to what? Textual question. Pick your answer directly from the passage. Now, judicial question. That is just from you. It's just a type of eliminating or refuting certain ideas that are not relevant to the passage. You could have something like, all but one of the following are. That means all are but one. That is, there are three. In fact, let me use the simpler ones. Which of the following is true according to the passage? The following are true according to the passage, except, are we together? So what are they trying to say? They want you to note in detail. They want to test your diligence in taking note of things said in the passage and things not said in the passage, but which may be true or which may be in connection with the subject matter being discussed in the passage. Are we together? There may be some things that are true, and related to the passage, but they are not stated in the passage. So, according to the passage, which one is not stated? According to the writer, which one is not stated? Which one is? All the following are not stated, except that means only one of the following is stated in the passage, and that will be your correct answer. I believe you are following me. That is judicial questions. You are eliminating, you are refuting certain ideas as this. So you are engaging in what we call inclusive and exclusive mechanism. This one is said in the passage, this one is not said in the passage, and then you are able to arrive at your answer. So as you read your passages, you take note of all this so that you'll be able to arrive at correct and nothing but the correct answers to the questions. And the number 8, which will be the last, is lexical usage questions. Lexical, we are referring to lexical items, words, expressions, what they mean, and how they relate with other words. How do they relate with other words? The most popular types of questions, subtypes under this, is questions on synonyms, question on antonyms. I believe you know what they mean. That another section has been devoted to synonyms and antonyms. and you need to give attention to it, and many questions are even solved under it. Now, question, they will say questions like identify the one, the expression that is nearest in meaning, right? And then antonym that is opposite in meaning. However, for examinations like UTME, it may be that there is no, they are not asking for what to word synonym or word to word antonym. It may be an event that is synonymous. It may be an event that is antonymous, that is similar in meaning, similar in interpretation, and opposite in meaning, respectively. Are we following? So it is not that every time it must be that this word is the opposite of this, the synonym of this. And then you also need to note the context of usage. Context in terms of register. Sometimes you may see options, and then the register, the notes, mandates you to use one that is really used in that expression. Are we together? There are some words may be synonymous, but they are not used in all contexts together. And that will also lead you to the concept of collocation, right? Yeah, although this is a synonym to this, or this is an antonym to this, but do they collocate? Are they used interchangeably in that context? You need to take note of that while answering questions on lexical usage. I will also refer you to synonyms, antonyms, and all other topics that are related, such as hyponymy, meronymy, homophony, homography, homonymy, and all questions that deal with word relations relating to words, and as we progress. In the next class, we'll be focusing mainly on answering some questions. Let's take one in the next class, another class too. Let's take some passages together so that we'll confidently answer questions correctly in our examinations. In this class, we focused on the types of questions, and I believe you can engage them when you see them next time. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.